Dear Logan, I haven't eaten a bear yet. That's good news. I think the bear might have eaten your letters. That's the bad. Maddie. Maddie didn't turn on the lights. Maybe because days were always short in winter, and even though she knew the solar panels would still get some light and the wind would never stop blowing, she didn't want to drain the batteries just the same. Maybe it was because she knew she should be trying to sleep, because at least 8 hours was absolutely essential for good skin and clear eyes. All the beauty magazines said so. Or maybe Maddie just didn't want anyone to see that she would shine beneath the curtains of her room. That's why she lay unmoving for what felt like hours, in a little nest her father had built during the first winter in Alaska. It was always warmer when up where she slept, and safe away from any animals that might come calling in the middle of the night. But Maddie liked it mostly because she could pull the curtains and have some privacy, even if the kind of privacy one that couldn't stand in fully upright and enjoy. But maybe Maddie stayed perfectly still, staring through the darkness until she couldn't take it anymore. Then she couldn't stop herself from reaching down beneath the mattress and the wall wiggling her fingers until she found it. The picture was folded into quarters, and thick lines creased the image. She knew each and every inch of it by heart, and she still reached for her emergency flashlight, risked a little light in order to look at it again. Maddie still had that dress, or parts of it. Their second winter in Alaska, Maddie had read every book in Juneau Library had on learning how to sew, and over years she turned all her old clothes into new clothes. She saved the shiny white dress with the silver sequin stash for last. Now it was a jacket that might still fit, but Maddie had never ever worn it except for when she wanted to feel pretty sometimes in the darkest parts of winter. It was hard to believe that it was once such a pretty dress, or that she'd been a happy girl. She wanted to believe that she'd forgotten Logan's face, but she hadn't. She knew him as soon as she saw him, even though now he looked like an older version of Logan that had been stretched and pulled and maybe dosed with some kind of magic potion to make him approximately 3 times his original size. But in the picture, in her mind, they were the same height, and he had deep dimples and a mischievous grin, and he kept his arm around her. The two of them are ready for whatever adventures lay ahead, as long as they could face them together. Maddie's cheeks were wet then, and she reminded herself for the millionth time that she was going to cry over that she wasn't never going to cry over Logan, never ever again. She took the photo and held it in the creases. It was time, she knew, to tear it right down in the center, rip it into a million pieces, and throw them on the fireplace. But she slipped it back between the wall and the mattress. Instead, back where it wouldn't hurt her anymore. She closed her eyes and rolled over in her bed. She was going to sleep, she told herself. But when she woke up, maybe it would all be a dream. But that's when Maddie heard it. There's a certain kind of noise that people make when they're not trying to make any noise at all. And right then, the cabin was full of it. Feet scraping and banging against chair legs. Cabinet doors opening and closing in the dark. Maddie eased herself down the ladder and flipped on the floor lamp by the desk. Her father didn't whirl. He wasn't surprised. He made a career of never ever being surprised. "How's the weather?" Maddie asked. Her father shook the match in his hand, forcing it out, and Maddie saw the kindling in the stove. Soon the cabin would be filled with the smell of wood, smoke, and coffee. It's holding," her father said, with a glance out the window as if it might have changed in the 20 seconds since he'd last looked. Go back to bed, Mad. It wasn't that early. Days were just in Alaska at the beginning of winter, and the truth was Maddie was the kind of tired that she couldn't really fix. When will you be back? She asked. Tonight, if the weather holds. She heard what he was saying. There was a big storm, and it had to scare people who lived in the extreme weather most of their lives. But she knew that nothing would keep her from her father from her. Absolutely nothing. And sometimes that was the scariest thing about. It's okay, she said. I'll be okay. So don't take any chances, please. If it's bad, don't risk it. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Sounds like you're the one who's worried. We were about to fly a plane the size of a large car over a mountain, the glaciers, and what might possibly be a storm of the year in Alaska. So I'm allowed some trepidation. Well, I'm leaving my teenage daughter alone with a boy, so I'm allowed some too. Maddie couldn't help it. She glanced at the door to her father's room. Logan was in there on the small cot of the Secret Service guys had brought with them when they set up their little base camp near the trees. Logan, you're gonna be okay without me? Her father asked. Maddie forced herself to look away from the door. It's been 6 years, Dad. If I weren't okay without you here, I'd be dead by now. That's not what I meant, Mad, and I think you know it. Maddie turned away from from the door, and the boy who had turned away from her. Whatever. Mad, I'm not going to kill the president's son, no matter how much I might want to, she silently added. That's not what I'm asking. Her father eased a little closer. Outside, the sun was coming up, and the cabin was the color of glowing coals. Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, he tried again. I'm fine. Her father filled the thermos with coffee, took it to his pack, and then his satellite phone and his wallet. I thought you'd be happier to see him. You were always so close. Yeah, Maddie filled a cup of coffee. We were. The cabin was bright enough that her father could see her face, read her eyes. Maybe I shouldn't go. No, you have to go. You know you do. We're fine. These are two agents. There are two agents in the tents outside. They're in charge of security. But Logan's supposed to be roughing it. I'm sure he's in the lap of luxury. I mean it, Maddie. Make him haul wood and tote water and clean fish and fix the roof and whatever else you were going to do. His parents want him to carry his weight. I didn't mean to put this on you, but I'm okay, she said. We'll be okay. If you're sure, her dad said. Maddie forced a smile. Of course. How many times had Maddie watched her father fly away? Too many to count, that's for sure. In the beginning, he took her with him. Her first taste of Alaska came at 6,000 feet, soaring over glaciers, skittering above mountains, touching down on lakes so clear and cold that you could probably skip across them on bigger bits of glacier ice, like the seals would that laying sunning themselves out in the cold, wet land. And then Maddie got older and was allowed to stay on her own for an hour, a day, a night. Her father was never, ever going more than 48 hours, though. That was the rule that neither of them ever said out loud. He was also never left her not alone before, and Maddie wasn't at all sure how to take that. She crept the door closed of her father's room. There was a light, no movement. It was almost empty, just like it had always been. But it wasn't. And that was a fact that Maddie could never, ever let herself forget. As she started the day's work by drawing the curtains over the kitchen door and heating up the water. If the storm was bad, then this might be her last chance in a while. And she felt like she needed her armor for whatever was coming. To Maddie, armor meant nail polish and lip gloss, Really, lip gloss was essential to a girl's self-defense, she was certain. And clean hair. Oh, mercy. Did she, have mercy, did she ever need clean hair? She worked as quickly and quietly as she could, and soon she was sinking in a hot tub of sudsy bubbles, leaning her head back and letting the warm water wash over her. She was never really warm in Alaska. Sure, sometimes she was hot and sometimes she was freezing, but a nice, comfortable warm was something she only found in a bath. And so Maddie let herself close her eyes and sink lower. And, "Hey, Mad, sorry." The voice came from behind her. And Maddie found herself bolting upright and sliding down beneath a big blanket of bubbles. She hadn't really fallen asleep. She wasn't. She just entered that kind of "it's early and I'm still sleepy and this water feels so really really good" kind of trance. She'd forgotten she wasn't alone. "Logan," she yelled back, and glanced behind her where he stood with his back facing her, hands over his eyes. "I'm sorry, why are you taking the bath in the kitchen? It's also the bathroom." Maddie was still young. Stay turned around. And put the curtain back. She watched Logan grope blindly behind him until one of his big hands found the curtain and pulled it closed again. Only then did she let herself relax, which was the good news, but also meant she had time to really think about what just happened, which was bad. Hurriedly, Maddie stood and rinsed her hair and her body and wrapped herself in a big towel. She was halfway into her base layer when Logan's voice rang out from the other side of the curtain, too close, like he hadn't moved. "Maddie, why were you taking a bath in the kitchen?" "Because this is where we heat the water and take baths. Bathroom." "Okay," Logan said in a matter of someone who didn't think it was okay at all. "So if this is the bathroom, then where do I..." Maddie jerked her head through the curtain and pointed. "It's about 40 feet out that door." Logan looked to the outside and then back at Maddie. The look on his face in that moment was almost worth having him there, listening to his stupid deep voice and staring at his stupid broad shoulders and putting up with the little jerk that made her heart made when when he smiled. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. Maddie smirked. "Welcome to Alaska."